morning. It's back with the babies today after parent conferences the last couple days. So that's why I'm in my pajamas and with my stuffed bear here, Walton. It's PJ and Stuffy Day. So I'm trying to do these videos when they fit in to my schedule. So I have a few minutes before work, going in early today because it's Friday. So getting ready for next week, all you teachers out there know the plans, the prep. So anyway, in light of teacher conferences, there are several things that came up that I wanted to make videos about, and this is one of them. So in conversation with one of my parents, she talked about how she was frustrated because her husband had different academic goals for her daughter than she does, which is a common struggle that many partners find when they're raising a child together. And specifically, the struggle was, well, I just want my child to be able to be a kid, to be able to, I don't want to push her and put undue pressure on her. She's only, 6. I want her to be able to do the things she enjoys doing. And so my husband and I have tried to compromise, but he wants her to do more and more academically rigorous work and outside classes, and she hates them. And I don't want to create conflict with my husband, but also I'm worried about my daughter. So a very understandable and relatable challenge. And as we talked a little bit about their background and cultural context and their family perspectives and how they grew up, it made a lot of sense. They grew up in a similar system, but he saw that as a path for success and she saw that as something that held her back. And so they ultimately are both coming from a place of fear. She is feeling afraid of failing her daughter, and he is feeling afraid of failing his daughter. And so when we framed it like that together, we got to a place where, what's happening here is that you both want to do what's best for your daughter and ultimately for your family. But neither of you has been able to have a conversation together yet about what that might look like for your family. What we talked about is the possibility of her having a conversation with her husband where they have an opportunity to share in an intimate way their fears and their hopes and their goals for their daughter and for their family. And so coming from a place not of defensiveness or anger, but of curiosity and wanting to understand their own perspective as well as one another's. And so whether that's just the two of them or with a mediator like a counselor or a friend or somebody that can be a part of that conversation. So for some couples, that's something that they find helpful, and for other couples, they just want it to be the two of them navigating that conversation, and they're able to do that. So that conversation would look something like, during conferences, I had a conversation with our daughter's teacher, and this whole idea around how much after school activity she's involved in, particularly the hard one she doesn't enjoy, came up. And I wanted to re-enter that conversation with you. And immediately there might be pushback. Oh, we've talked about this. And yes, you're right, we have talked about it, but I want to understand where you're coming from. Can you tell me why it's so important to you? And oftentimes, for some people, they don't know, and that conversation will go a different direction then. But ideally, looks like we have a visitor, Peggy. Ideally, that person will be able to articulate why it's so important. For me, this was so helpful, and I want our daughter to have what's best. And then you can affirm, or the other partner can affirm, I also want what's best, and I so appreciate you sharing that with me. That makes a lot of sense. What I'm struggling with is I want the same thing you want, but in my experience, that doesn't work. So how can we reason together to figure out what's going to be best for our family, because we want it to feel good to both of us. We don't want to create conflict with one another, and we want what's best for our children. So let's work together to make a plan and to have an understanding of what that looks like, which we can revisit over time. So really starting from a place of curiosity, compassion, and understanding for yourself and one another, because that's another thing to consider is we often assume we're right, and it's just a normal human thing to do. It's no judgment. That's just part of being human. So it is beneficial to stop and reflect. Well, why do I think that my daughter taking this class is going to be detrimental to her childhood? So really questioning, why do I want what I want? What are my reasons? And then sharing that, and together honoring those feelings and coming to a conclusion. So I hope this helps in your own conversations and in your own relationships and families. Please let me know with comments or questions below, or feel free to reach out. You can follow me on this channel, and you can also find my personal story on the Rocks in My Pocket website listed below, and then also take advantage of my business services at Playground website is also below. Thanks for watching. Have a happy Friday.